want to add a little bit to Professor Sanjay, his talk. When I started to learn AI, I saw like one computer scientist, very good professor. He told me that all his life is dedicated to developing the algorithm to replace himself so that he could comfortably retire. So I think it's a very interesting goal. It's kind of one very concrete measure about his success, right? So I may have a suggestion for Jinghua and Daniela, right? In 5 years, whether we could develop the AI algorithm to replace me or any speaker here, right? If we could achieve that, then probably we are very successful. So that's bring us to the topic, relationship between AI and the labor, right? And the human beings. So in T4 and T5, we really want to use AI to facilitate the human decision making. There are 2 dimensions. One is about the temporal dimension. We tend to make sequential decisions, and then how could AI help us to make the very wise sequential decisions, like in our lifelong time, and can we make a very wise education and career decisions. And the second is more on the spatial or social dimension, right? Another important decision we want to make is how to position us like socially. In a wise way to grow our human capital or develop our economic status, right? So that's what the T4 and T5 tackle. Just very quickly about the T4 members. T4 is led by Professor Jinghua Zhao, and then Sandy Arching and me, we are the associate PI. We also have very good researchers in this team. In T5, that's led by Professor Sandy Pentland, and then Jinghua, Siqi, Simon, and me, we are the associate PIs, and we also have great researchers in the team. All right, let's get into very concrete research part. What we did in the first year is about using AI to help the sequential education and the career decision. So in this research, the lead question is how we can detect and optimize your career decision using reinforcement learning. So notice there are 2 keywords, right? One is a topic. It's about the sequential decisions. All right, I just visualize that here. And then the basic is let's imagine we all live 100 years, right? And then the first stage, we stay at home and get education, right? And then we start maybe a junior work for 2 years. And later we kind of get, go to some master program and get a degree and continue to work. Right? And we work long enough when we get retired and get back to home. Right? So you can see that throughout this, let's say 100 years, you sequentially make the decision. And every decision you make will have an impact into your future career. On the other side, what is the reinforcement learning? So it describes an algorithm with such a process that there's an agent that follows some policy and take action, and then it interact with the environment. And then this environment provides a reward or feedback back to the agent, and the agent could change the decision. How are the 2 things connected? This is because when you think about the individual behavior, actually at every time point, you are a reinforcement learner, right? You somehow form an expectation into your future, and you take action, and you get a reward or punishment from the environment, and then you change your decision. Right? So that's why the 2 things that connect. Actually, anecdotally, when you think about the AlphaGo, right, the game between the machine and the human, I often feel like there's 2 reinforcement learners. It's just like proof that the machine reinforcement learner is better than the human reinforcement learner. So that's the intuitive connection between those 2 topics. Very quickly about the technology. So in the RL framework, there are 2 major functions. One is about policy function that determine what you do immediately. And second is called reward function. Basically, it's a reward feedback back to your system. So I just skip the detailed technology here, but you can see the forward loop and the backward loop. So kind of represent what I just showed in the previous slides, the diagram. So what's the data set we use for this research? The data set actually comes from the LinkedIn. So People Data Lab is a company, and he just collect the data from the LinkedIn. Basically, what they do is they just go to every LinkedIn profile and then turn those unstructured web page data to some more structured data that we can work with. So here I just use myself as an example. So this company go to my profile, collect my name and my position, and then the companies I work for. So we already have the data set. An example about the data set is that here I just visualize an education and career trajectory of an immigrant who actually currently in Singapore. So we can see the education, right? So he got the Bachelor of Science in Communication Engineering, this degree, by 23 years old, and then started to work as a design engineer. And then later he got a Master of Science degree in EE, and then continued work until now, right? It's actually, of course, this is just one example for a person, but when you think about it, it's kind of represent a lot of people's trajectory. So amazing part about the project is we can purchase a large-scale data, and then what I described is just one example. But in total, we have 650 million profiles from the whole world. And in Singapore alone, we already got 3 million such profiles. And actually in Singapore, the total number of employees is about 3.2 million people. So it's very good coverage and a very comprehensive data set. So the key point actually is what we can achieve by combining our very comprehensive data set and then perspective I introduced, right, reinforcement learning. So I just described a few things we are currently working on. And one is that we actually could recognize some patterns from the data set. So I just want to relate to all the audience here, right? Maybe you are sometimes asking yourself whether my career trajectory or education trajectory is a typical one in my discipline, or it is a rare one, right? Maybe I get a law education and become a law professor. It's a very typical trajectory, right? But there could be some outlier type of trajectory. You might be curious about this question. And then maybe when you get to some of your education for like 20 years, and you start to ask yourself, well, I trained myself for 20 years, I paid so much tuition. Will I be successful in the future? Right? What will be my future salary? Right? So actually, it could be turned into the supervised learning question. Right? We could use our education trajectory to predict your future career achievement and to answer the question. And maybe, I guess that's for sure, everyone at a certain point will ask yourself your future educational career trajectory. Where's my next move? Should I go to this university? Should I learn this major? Or should I stay in this current job or move to another job? Right? So with our data set, we could help to generate all future career possibilities for you and under the constraint of your past experience. So that's more switch to the generative AI perspective. And even further we can do is to recommend the alternatives for you. Right? So at this point, condition all your past experience, we could recommend the schools, majors, or potential job options for you by using our algorithms. Of course, in this project, we really highlight the ethical principles. We also want to achieve all those goals without by adhering to the privacy, equity, and other ethical principles. So that's complete my presentation. Then I hand it over to Ambra.